Have you ever wondered why some people can completely dominate a room without even raising their voice? They don't shout, they don't beg, they simply exist with such magnetic presence that everyone around them feels irresistibly drawn to them. Today I'm going to reveal exactly how you can become that person. In the next 30 minutes, I'll show you how to awaken that alpha energy sleeping inside you that has the power to ignite desire in anyone you're interested in. Think about it for a moment. Remember the last time you felt completely invisible in a conversation, or when you desperately tried to get someone special's attention and it seemed like the more you tried, the more they ignored you. It's not a coincidence, it's not bad luck. It's simply that you've been playing the game with the wrong rules. True power isn't in chasing, but in attracting. It's not in talking, but in strategic silence. It's not in always being available, but in the mysterious quality of scarcity. Neil Strauss, after years infiltrating the most exclusive communities of seduction masters, discovered this the hard way. Attraction is not a choice, he tells us. And he's right. Attraction is a biological response, almost primitive, to certain specific triggers, and the most potent of all is what we call alpha energy. That silent magnetism that makes people wonder who you are, what you think, what makes you different. Today we're going to awaken that energy in you. If you're tired of being the second choice, of being the good friend, of watching less qualified, less interesting, and less authentic people than you get all the attention, then now is the time to change your reality. Subscribe to this channel right now, hit the notification bell, and prepare for a complete transformation in the way you relate to others. The first big idea you need to understand is that you've been spending your energy on the wrong people, in the wrong way, and at the wrong time. Have you noticed how some people seem to have an almost supernatural control over their environment without saying a word? It's not magic, it's strategy. Neil Strauss discovered this after years of observation. The true seducer is not the one who talks the most or chases the most. It's the one who knows exactly when to withdraw. Think about the last time you liked someone. What did you do? You were probably always available, responded to their messages instantly, gave them all your attention, constantly tried to impress them. And the more you did it, the less interested they seemed. Why? Because excessive availability kills mystery, kills curiosity, kills desire. What really happens is that when you're constantly available, your energy drains. You become an open book that anyone can read and then leave on the shelf. Alpha energy, on the contrary, is contained. It's selective. It's like a deep well that invites others to come closer to discover what's inside, instead of a shallow puddle that everyone can see at a glance. Here's a practical exercise for you. During the next week, identify 3 people to whom you always respond immediately. They could be friends, co-workers, or romantic interests. Now, deliberately double your response time. If you normally respond in 5 minutes, make it 10. If you respond in an hour, make it 2. You're not being rude. You're recalibrating the perceived value of your time and attention. You're beginning to bottle that energy to use it strategically, not to waste it. Repeat this mantra every morning. My time is valuable. My attention is a gift. My energy is finite. This isn't selfishness. It's self-preservation. It's the first step to becoming that human magnet that attracts instead of chases. And that's what we'll talk about in the next point. How your silence can become your most powerful weapon. The second great truth about alpha energy is that silence, when used correctly, is more powerful than any word you can pronounce. Neil Strauss expressed it perfectly. Silence creates curiosity, and curiosity creates attraction. But we're not talking about any kind of silence, not the uncomfortable silence that arises when you don't know what to say, not the silence of shyness or insecurity. We're talking about deliberate, strategic silence charged with intention. Have you ever noticed how in a heated discussion, the person who speaks less but with more authority is the one everyone ends up listening to? Or how at a social gathering, everyone seems to gravitate toward that mysterious person who observes more than participates? This isn't coincidence, it's the manifestation of a fundamental psychological law. We value more what is scarce. And your voice, your opinions, your reactions, when precisely dosed, become infinitely more valuable. What most people don't understand is that every word you utter dilutes your mystery. Every emotional reaction you show gives away a piece of your puzzle. And soon, when the puzzle is complete, interest dies. The person who's always explaining themselves, justifying themselves, sharing every thought that crosses their mind, is unwittingly sabotaging their own attractiveness. Here's another practical exercise. The next time you're in a conversation, especially with someone you're romantically or professionally interested in, practice the 70-30 rule. Let the other person talk 70% of the time while you actively listen, maintaining eye contact and showing genuine interest. When you speak for that remaining 30%, do so with purpose. Don't fill silences out of nervousness. Don't give too many details. Let them wonder more about you. Do you notice how this changes the dynamic? Suddenly, you're the one in control, not because you're manipulating, but because you're creating space for the other to express themselves while keeping your mystery intact. People who master this art never need to chase. They are chased. Now repeat after me. My silence is my power, my mystery is magnetic, less is more. Engrave this in your mind and watch how people begin to work harder to keep you interested, to discover more about you, to earn your approval. And this leads us directly to our third transformative idea: how to identify and break the patterns of silent manipulation that others have been using against you. The third revelation that will completely change how you relate is understanding that you've been subtly manipulated by those who know how to trigger your emotional responses. Have you ever wondered why you always end up giving in to certain people? Why there are specific individuals who always get you to react exactly as they want, whether with guilt, with a desire to please, or with a desperate need to explain yourself? Neil Strauss discovered this dynamic in his research and called it emotional triggers. Each person has certain psychological buttons that, when pressed, generate automatic reactions. And most revealing is that the majority of us aren't even aware these buttons exist, much less that they're being deliberately pressed by others. Think about that person who always knows what to say to make you feel guilty for not being available, or that romantic interest who seems to disappear just when you start feeling comfortable, only to reappear when you've begun to forget them. These aren't coincidences, they're deliberate tactics from people who have learned, consciously or unconsciously, to manipulate your emotions to keep you in a state of imbalance. And why does this work? Because when you're emotionally off balance, you're predictable. And when you're predictable, you're controllable. The person with alpha energy, on the contrary, is unpredictable. Not because they're erratic or inconsistent, but because they don't allow their reactions to be dictated by others' manipulation attempts. Here's a powerful exercise for you. Identify your emotional triggers. What kinds of comments or behaviors make you react automatically? Does criticism make you immediately defend yourself? Does emotional distance make you desperately chase? Does validation make you lower your guard? Once you identify these patterns, you can begin to deliberately break them. The next time you feel that immediate impulse to react, stop, breathe, count to 10. Ask yourself, am I responding or am I reacting? A response is conscious, a reaction is automatic. And in that small space between stimulus and your response is where your real power is born. Repeat after me. I choose my responses. I control my reactions. I decide who has access to my energy. This simple act of awareness will break manipulation patterns that may have been active for years in your life. And now, if you're finding this content valuable, make sure to hit like, share it with someone who needs to hear this message, and of course, subscribe for more content that will transform your relationships and awaken your true potential. Let's now move on to the fourth dimension of alpha energy, the transformative power of strategic unavailability. The fourth master key you must understand is that your constant availability is the subtlest prison you can lock yourself in. Scarcity creates value, Neil Strauss reminds us. And he's absolutely right. What's too accessible loses its value, not because it intrinsically changes, but because human perception is programmed to dismiss what's always available. Think about how you value that reservation at an exclusive restaurant that you got after weeks of trying, compared to fast food you can get anytime. The quality might be comparable, but the experience, the anticipation, the perceived value, they're worlds apart. The same happens with your presence, your attention, and your emotional energy. You've been conditioned since childhood to believe that always being available is a virtue, that immediately responding to every message is being considerate, that sacrificing your time and energy for others makes you a good person. But this excessive availability has a hidden price, invisible to you, clearly visible to others. When you're always available, you send a subconscious message: I have nothing more important to do. There's nothing in my life more valuable than attending to you. And although you might think this communicates dedication or interest, what it really conveys is lack of self-worth. People with true alpha energy aren't always available, not because they're arrogant or inconsiderate, but because they understand the value of their time and energy. Here's a revealing exercise. For one full week, implement what I call the personal scarcity rule. Establish specific time blocks when you'll be completely inaccessible. Turn off notifications. Don't respond to messages. Don't be available for last-minute plans. And most importantly, don't apologize for it. Observe how people react to this new version of you. Some will get irritated, demand explanations, try to make you feel guilty. These are precisely the people who benefited from your excessive availability. Others, surprisingly, will begin to value more the time you spend with them, to plan ahead, to treat you with a new level of respect. Do you notice the difference? You haven't fundamentally changed who you are. You've just changed how you dose your presence. And in that small adjustment, the entire power balance in your relationships begins to transform. Repeat daily: my absence creates presence. My distance creates value. My strategic unavailability is my greatest power. It's not selfishness, it's self-respect. And paradoxically, when you begin to treat yourself with that level of respect, others follow your example. And this brings us to our fifth and most powerful revelation: the rebirth of your alpha energy through emotional discipline. The fifth and most transformative truth is that true alpha energy is born from emotional discipline. This is the best-kept secret of magnetic people who seem to attract opportunities, connections, and admiration with apparent effortlessness. Neil Strauss synthesizes it perfectly. Emotional control isn't suppressing your feelings, it's choosing how and when to express them. Most people live at the mercy of their instant emotional reactions. Someone criticizes them, they react by defending themselves. Someone ignores them, they react by chasing. Someone flatters them, they react by lowering their guard. This pattern of immediate stimulus response is exactly what keeps you trapped in relational dynamics where you never have control. The person with alpha energy, however, has mastered the art of delayed response. It's not that they don't feel the same emotions as you. They feel them intensely. But they've created a space between what they feel and how they decide to act. And in that space resides their immense power. Have you noticed how the most attractive people, both romantically and professionally, rarely seem disturbed? It's not that they don't face the same challenges as you, it's that they've learned not to turn every challenge into a personal crisis. They've developed what psychologically we call equanimity, that quality of maintaining calm and mental clarity regardless of external circumstances. Here's the definitive exercise to develop this quality. The next time you feel an intense emotion, whether anger, jealousy, insecurity, or even excessive euphoria, give yourself permission to feel it completely, but commit to not acting based on it for at least 24 hours. Feel the emotion, observe it, name it, but don't let it dictate your actions. What you'll discover is revolutionary. Most emotions that seem so urgent, so demanding of immediate action, dissipate considerably after this waiting period. And the decisions you make from this state of clarity are infinitely more powerful than the impulsive reactions that arise in the moment. This emotional discipline has a fascinating side effect. It begins to alter how others perceive you. You're no longer the predictable person who can be easily manipulated. You become an enigma, someone whose reactions cannot be anticipated or provoked. And this, in human psychology, is irresistibly attractive. Repeat this mantra when you feel you're losing your center. I feel my emotions, but I am not my emotions. I observe my impulses, but I am not my impulses. I choose my responses consciously. This simple practice, applied consistently, will transform not only how you relate to others, but fundamentally how you relate to yourself. And here's the deepest truth about alpha energy. It's not really about dominating others. It's about mastering yourself. It's not about manipulation. It's about cultivating a presence so authentic, so centered, and so confident that others naturally feel attracted to you. Neil Strauss, after years studying the most advanced techniques of seduction and influence, came to this surprising conclusion. Techniques can give you temporary results, but only authentic internal transformation can give you the lasting magnetism you truly seek. Have you noticed how some people seem to have this natural magnetism? It's not because they're more physically attractive, smarter, or more talented than you. It's because they've done the internal work. They've mastered their emotional reactions. They've learned to value their energy. They've understood the power of strategic silence. They've broken the manipulation patterns in their lives. They've implemented strategic unavailability, and they've developed unshakable emotional discipline. If you truly want to awaken that alpha energy within you, if you want to become that magnetic person who generates desire and intrigue around them, don't look for more tricks or techniques. Begin the internal work. Begin treating your energy as the precious resource it truly is. Begin valuing your peace of mind above the need to react. Begin choosing yourself, even when it means momentarily disappointing others. True alpha energy doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from having freed yourself from the need for external control because you've mastered internal control. It comes from that deep sense of peace that emerges when you no longer need constant validation, because you've learned to validate yourself. It comes from that silent magnetism that develops when your worth is no longer tied to others' approval or attention. And now, as we reach the end of this journey, I leave you with a final question. Are you ready to stop chasing and start attracting? Are you willing to do the internal work necessary to transform yourself from someone who constantly needs external validation to someone who naturally magnetizes others' attention and desire? If the answer is yes, start today. Don't wait for circumstances to be perfect. Don't wait to have more confidence. Confidence is the result of action, not its prerequisite. Start with small acts of emotional self-discipline. Start establishing healthy boundaries. Start treating your time and energy as the precious resources they truly are. And remember, as Neil Strauss said, true seduction isn't something you do to someone, it's something you become. If this message resonated with you, if you felt that spark of recognition inside telling you, this is exactly what I needed to hear, write below in the comments, I choose my inner power. I want to know how many of you are ready for this transformation. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, activate the notification bell, and share this video with someone you think could benefit from this message. Together, we're creating a community of people who understand that true power doesn't come from techniques or manipulations, but from that deep internal work that transforms us into magnetic, centered, and authentically powerful individuals. See you in the next video, where we'll delve even deeper into practical strategies to awaken and maintain your alpha energy in any social or romantic situation. Until then, remember, your energy is your most valuable currency. Spend it wisely.